Hi, I'm Teresa at Travel by Books, and today's video is a long overdue video on my Benu pen collection. Benu Pens is a company that was founded in 2016 in Moscow, and their non-traditional approach was to create a fountain pen that embodied a more playful aesthetic. At the outbreak of the war with Ukraine, Benu relocated in 2022 to Armenia, and there they continue to operate today using a very creative and different approach and utilizing customer feedback to create innovative, non-traditional, beautiful, sparkly pens. So I hope you enjoy looking at my collection. And so here we have my Benu pen collection. I will start on the left and work my way across. And this is a curious little pen, an interesting little pen. This is the Benu Skull and Roses. And it has a design on the barrel and the cap of roses and skulls on the cap band in a red translucent material. These pens came in 3 colors. There was one that was completely red, one that was completely black, and this version. And I liked the contrast between the translucent red and the opaque black. This pen would probably be categorized, as far as Benu models, as a Bolette size. And it has a number 5 size steel nib. I think it's a pretty little nib. I kind of like size 5 nibs. It does not post, the cap does not post, but the pen is a comfortable fit in hand. I like this little pen. I've enjoyed using it. All of the nibs are, for the most part, I have fine Schmidt nibs. Schmidt is the only type of nib that Benu uses. The exceptions to that are this Bourbon on the Rocks pen has a medium nib, and these 2 Talisman models have broad nibs. And this is the Benu Pomegranate Wine, and this was a Truffet exclusive. Truffet was the only retailer that had this pen, and I just fell in love with the deep red sparkle of it. And this was one of my very early pens. I think this was the maybe 2nd or 3rd fountain pen I ever had, and one of the first that I bought for myself, because my first fountain pen was a gift. I enjoy Schmidt nibs. They are one of the most reliable nibs that I know of. They are reliable in the sense that they are consistently good writers. They're probably a more consistent nib. I would say definitely more consistent than Yovo nibs. I can only assume that they are more expensive to order in bulk, and that's why more pen makers don't use them. That's a guess on my part. And this beauty, this extravagant pen, is the Bourbon on the Rocks. Look at this thing. Is that not dazzling? Oh, I forgot to say that let me get everything in order here. These 5 are the Euphoria models. This was the Bolette. These 5 are Euphorias. These 3 are Talismans, and I will get to these in a moment. Back to the bourbon on the rocks. All of these have Schmidt converters. This one has some ink on the nib. I just finished putting ink in it. One thing I have to say about the Schmidt nibs is that the nib housings have metal collars on them, so you cannot leave a shimmer ink in these pens for a long period of time without cleaning. And if you let ink dry up, shimmer ink dry up in one of these pens, it will probably corrode that metal collar. I'm ashamed to admit that I let a shimmer ink sit in this Talisman pen for too long, and it dried up and it corroded the collar. Now the pen still writes, it functions perfectly, but I just, this pen has a little bit of translucency in the grip section, and you can see that corrosion, and that bothers me. So just keep that in mind. This is the New Year's Eve 2020, I think it's 2023. And this is a numbered pen. This is number 47 out of 500, 471 out of 500. This was, I think this may have been a Gold Spot exclusive. Gold Spot or Goulet, I don't remember, but it was an exclusive release to celebrate New Year's Eve. Isn't that pretty? It's got stars in it. A beautiful, beautiful pen, and these Euphoria models just fit so comfortably in hand. All of the Benu models are comfortable to use, no matter the size. Look at the grip section. It's a nice diameter and a nice long width, so it will fit any size of fingers, any type of grip. Super nice pens. I believe this, let's see, I believe this pen was numbered. Yes, it is. My camera's not wanting to focus on all this sparkle. 186 out of 300. This was an endless exclusive. This is the Benu Sunday by the Pool. And the inspiration for this pen is, as the name suggests, Sundays by the pool. And Sunday refers to ice cream sundae. The white in the pen is meant to evoke images of eating ice cream on a hot summer afternoon by the swimming pool. And of course, the blues are inspired by the color of the water in a swimming pool, and the sparkle is meant to evoke images of the sunlight sparkling on the water. And of course, I fell big time for this pen because of my love of blue pens. I have this pen inked with Robert Oster's Bondi Blue, which is a perfect match for this pen. And then this is a Goulet Pens exclusive. This is the Earl Grey, which was such a popular release for Gold Spot that they've had to have several re-releases. And I do think this pen is available on their website. I haven't checked recently, but they've had to, there was such a demand for it, and they've had so many re-releases that it's possible that this pen is still available. And I like how Benu, when I first became aware of Benu pens, most of their pens had the black cap band, the black center band, regardless of what color the pen body was. And as time has gone on, I think Benu has definitely taken into consideration the consumer's wishes, and they have started making the cap band or center band be of the same material as the pen body, which gives a much smoother, much nicer look to the pen. And this pen, in addition to all the gold sparkle, is supposed to actually have flecks of tea and possibly lavender. I think lavender was mentioned. Isn't that just beautiful? A lot of the materials that Benu uses are opaque and near translucent, as this material is. I haven't inked this pen. Haven't thought of an ink that I would want to use in it. But it's beautiful. And then we start with the Talisman model pens, and this is the Venus hair pen. This is a release from several years ago, and it was also one of my first pen purchases and first Benu pen purchases. I just thought this was so pretty. We have a combination of the darker coppery brown and the more translucent color that's just infused with gold sparkles. And the nice brown, somewhat translucent cap band. And then the pen assumes the shimmery copper color up towards the top of the cap. And the Talisman models are also very comfortable in hand, provide a very comfortable writing experience. Let's see if I can show you that. You see that the dark place? You can see the metal collar on the nib housing, and you see that dark part there. That is the corrosion that I was speaking of. Now that just makes me sad. And I scrubbed it, and it does not come off. At first I thought it was just dried on the ink, but it is corroded. So you can't help but want to use shimmer inks in these pens because they just beg for it, because the pens themselves are so shimmery and sparkly. But if you do that, just remember that you need to remove that nib and housing and keep it good and clean. This was another special edition. This was a Gold Spot exclusive, the Sakura. And this was another pen that sold out very rapidly when it was first introduced on Gold Spot's site. And this was also a pen that they had to re-release several times. I think I got this one on the second release. And there was quite a lot of variety in the colors. I mean, they were all this cherry pink and sort of periwinkle blue color, but of course they varied in the amount of blue and the amount of pink. a lovely little pen. And in this case, Benu decided to provide a contrast by having the grip section be this shimmery blue acrylic to provide a contrast with the blue in the barrel. And the cap band is also that same blue. And the last talisman in the group, and also an exclusive edition, is the True Unicorn, and this was a Gourmet Pens exclusive. This is Aziz's collaboration with Benu. And I was just gobsmacked when I saw all this sparkle. I mean, Benu is known for sparkle, but this pen just, it just dazzles. It blows your eyes out. I mean, it almost looks like actual crystals or like glass or something in there. And this pen also has the contrasting section and cap band. And both of the talismans are have the Schmidt broad nibs. Did I mention that they all have Schmidt converters? I think I did. Now we come to these two curious little pens. And these are the Benu Parrot. Benu created these pens in, I think, either 2019 or early 2020. I think this was when, I believe this was when they were still located in Moscow. And I really don't know what their inspiration was for these pens, but the first time I saw one, I just fell in love with them. I think they're the cutest little things ever. And these pens, when they were released, they elicited some very strong opinions. There are people who absolutely hated this design, and they think their little eyes are creepy. But I just adore these little pens. And they came in, I think, 5 different colors. This blue, a pink, a purple, a yellow, and a green. Yes, 5 colors. And I wouldn't mind having them all, but they are, and my daughter has, I think she has the purple and the green, but she doesn't have the pink. These pens are really hard to find now. The first one I bought, which was a gift for Robin at Pencopia Pictorial, was a blue one, and I found that one through Page & Street Pens, I think. They sometimes have come into possession of some out-of-stock pens that are out of stock everywhere else. Gently used pens. That, if you want a pen that is out of stock everywhere, check with Page & Street. I've never inked either one of these pens. I know that the first one that I ordered wrote beautifully. But I guess I just sort of kept these for collectible purposes. The caps are supposed to be their feather crowns on their head, like a cockatoo. But I swear it looks like a chef's hat to me. But I love these little pens. And I will get my notebook and my supplies together, and I will give you a brief writing sample. These pens don't, They don't flex, you know, they don't have any particular writing characteristics. They're just good writing nibs. And I will give you an example of the fine, medium, and broad nibs. I'll be back with you shortly. I'll start with the fine nib on the Benu Skull and Roses. Now this has a shimmer ink. I'm not normally a person who really goes in heavily for fine nibs, but with the Schmidt nibs, the fine nibs write like most other pens, or nibs, medium nibs. So that's why I like the Schmidt fines. They give you the best of both writing worlds as far as being a sort of a intermediate stage between fine and medium. And the next pen is the pomegranate wine, the Euphoria model. Also a fine nib. The Schmidt nibs are so smooth. So they're smooth, but have enough of a, they're too smooth to say they have tooth, but there's enough crispness there that you don't feel like you're just using a dull pencil. It's a very satisfying writing experience. This ink is Wearing Gold Dracula. It's a super ink. It has a lot of shimmer in it. I'm not sure it'll show up here on this paper today, but both of these are shimmer inks. And this is the only medium nib we have in the group. In the Bourbon on the Rocks. The Dazzling Bourbon on the Rocks. And the ink is Diamine Fortune's Gold, which I thought would be a good ink for this pen. It's an ink that, as you can see, it goes on very light but gets darker as it dries. And next we have Sunday by the Pool, also with a fine nib. I love this ink, Bondi Blue. On the swatch, it will show a red sheen. And then I start in with the Talisman models. This is the True Unicorn. And this is the first of 2 broad nibs. And the ink is by Ferris Wheel Press. Tumultuous Tides. It is also a shimmer ink, but I don't believe that it's going to show shimmer on this paper. And I didn't mix the ink up. And our last pen is the Talisman Sakura. Also with a broad nib. And the ink is Sailor Mono Nadashinko, which is a light pastel, not pastel, periwinkle blue color. It's a very pretty ink, but of course it doesn't show up as well in the writing as, for instance, the Bondi Blue or either of the red inks. So that is my look at my Benu pen collection. Do you have any Benu pens? What do you think of the Schmidt nibs? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching.